Hello YouTube, this is Robin, your friendly local representative with the Humber St. Barbara region for the Green Party. I had made a post, the whole Happy St. Paddy's Day thing, and it didn't upload. So, rather than make a new one, I thought I would usher in St. Paddy's Day in a way that I feel is more appropriate. That said, Happy St. Paddy's Day. I just gotten off work. It's 4:30 in the morning. I couldn't pass up the chance to work a taxi shift on one of the busiest bar nights of the year. And in honor of that particular occasion, I thought that I'd rant a little bit about taxiing. A lot of people have had a lot of questions about why I do it and how it's the intricacies of the business in Corner Brook. May not be the most interesting topic, but it's one that's on my mind tonight, of course. So, cheers. As a brief aside, I really hate the idea of politicians being stiff collar and, shaking hands and kissing babies kind of stuff, and never really in the trenches, so to speak. I've been in the armed forces, I'm a cab driver, I'm a student, I'm in the trenches, having a beer with my constituents of the riding. So I challenge all the members of the political game to play as fairly as this. I'm no different than you guys. Just have more stupidity to take on as much as I am. Anyway, taxiing. I started about 2 years ago. Birchie Cabs got me involved. Every taxi stand in Corner Brook does things a little bit differently, but Corner Brook, the community of Corner Brook, sets the rates at $3.40 when you sit in the car, 10 cents per kilometer, and $1.80 for every kilometer driven, increments of 10 cents. That's how the prices are tabulated. Every company in Corner Brook charges the same rates because the city sets the rates. And then there's flat rates when you leave Corner Brook curling, when you go to Massey Drive, Mount Moriah, Hughes Brook, and beyond. But what's really interesting is the fact that I technically don't work for anybody. That in my case, I own my van, Car 30, and I bought the meter, I own the radio, all the equipment belongs to me, and I actually pay city cabs to use the stand. I pay them a weekly a weekly stand fee, and then I pay the dispatcher independently. I get a receipt for what I pay, and that's it. The rest of it belongs to me. If I leased a vehicle, I would pay $250 or $300 a week, and they pay for insurance and repairs and all that kind of stuff. Or I could go on the halves if I wanted to drive someone else's car, like a lease, where at the end of the night I pay for gasoline, coffee, food, dispatch, stand fees, whatever, all the expenses. And at the very, very end, I take half of what's left, and the car owner takes half. If you work fewer hours, that's a good idea. Together hours, pay a lease, and keep more money. Anyway, I own my own car, so it's moot. Today, St. Paddy's Day, I had my fun and frivolity at the university, had my classes, had my green beer, yay backlot, and came home for a nap, slept for a few hours, and went out at 8 o'clock. Worked for 8 hours. Normally I work 12 or 14, but I have class tomorrow, and being the lunatic that I am, I worked tonight. So I worked my 8-hour shift, and thanks to some regular customers from the university, friends of mine who wanted their trips, I took in about $250, maybe $200. Gassed up, bought my St. Paddy's Day gift, and some junk food and all that kind of stuff. All told, after 8 hours, I took in $160 profit. Cash in my pocket, claim taxes at tax time. In 8 hours, on a decent night. I've come home with $300, $400 profit on a Friday night. In, 10, 12 hours. but most of that money is made in 2 hours. But you make up the rest to make up the balance. Anyway, cabbing is a great job. If you can handle the stress of obnoxious drunk people, and I've got stories that will curl your hair. But over Christmas, for example, myself, my beautiful spouse, and Quigley both worked in our car. Again, since I own it, I make the rules. Well, she makes the rules, and yeah, anyway. She worked day shift, I worked night shift. In 8 days, we made close to $2,000 between Tips Eve and New Year's Day. Covered my entire tuition and some van repairs. Operational expenses, brakes, struts, that kind of stuff. If you've driven in Corner Brook, you'd understand. But it's beyond the logistics of it, and decent income, and the hours are great. Work when you want, especially when you own your own car. Work during peak hours like I did today. It irritates some of the guys, but I really don't care. If I really wanted to work between 12 and 4, in 4 hours I'd make half the income for the night. The bar rush going to and from. It really irritates people who work the entire 12 and think that what I'm doing is unfair. I really don't care. I pay my dues, I pay the same fees as they do, so I'm entitled to working whenever the hell I like. But politically, taxiing is great. It forces me to deal with all kinds of people and all kinds of issues, people from different areas. Taxiing appears to be one of the great equalizers in life. It seems as though in Newfoundland culture, and I'm sure in many other cultures, members of every demographic drink. People from different ethnicities, people from every social class. And just about all of them get cabs. And in 2 years, I've probably come across most of them. So I get to really appreciate the different individuals and what they gripe about when they're drunk, and that sort of thing. I also occasionally mention if the person seems halfway cogent. My political goals, shaving my head for cancer in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, and my plans for the kayaking club, and my plans for the charity Kisses for Africa, the eco-village, whatever the person appears to be interested in. My psychology degree is helping me towards pigeonholing people as effectively as I can, when I can. Sometimes it's harder than others. And I've even mentioned to people the idea of me doing my YouTube campaign to reach out the hearts and minds of the people. So it really does help strengthen my political campaign, help strengthen my social views of knowing what people want to hear, what people don't want to hear, and when people don't want to hear it. Which is always exciting. And it's humbling as well. I was told earlier, after being complimented, which I've never really been very comfortable with, by a particularly important person to me. She had said that I was a visionary for being 26 and trying all that I'm doing and having so much success in my work. That it takes a special kind of person to help successes go the way they have, for me in particular. I told her I didn't want to be put on a pedestal. She said pedestals are for statues and plants, and I am neither. And she mentioned that since I drink between classes, occasionally, and a pint, not 6, and having a beer after a hard day's driving drunk people around, I could chew the neck of a beer bottle some days, I tell you. It helps keep me humble, helps keep my, head from swelling, that I'm a human being like everyone else, despite all my efforts and my lofty goals. But my video's running long, as they seem to, usually. I'm gonna go have another few of these, and probably crash before class tomorrow. So, good night. I hope you all had a very safe and happy St. Paddy's Day, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Take care.